Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our first ever PvP against SirTravis. We've moved over into October 24th, 1941, getting closer to the winter where we have a very high percentage chance of suffering a bunch of casualties. Here. I say very high percentage because it's not guaranteed. It can happen later, but it will happen eventually. It's more than likely going to happen the first winter, though, so I am preparing for that. His offensive that he's pushed across all fronts is pretty much steamed. It's out of steam, really. His Soviet front still is... We're not even pushed up to a new wall in the south, and the north is barely hanging in there. He's giving us, honestly, a little bit of annoyances in Finland. And otherwise, Ethiopia is on the verge of falling. Very, very soon, as I had mentioned in the last episode. And everything's going. We'll start by figuring out what to do with all these new units here. We do have some new units ready to be deployed. And I don't know that we're going to need to actually send anything up immediately right now. So for now, I'll just get you deployed at Warsaw, this garrison. There's a new Finnish corps ready to be deployed. And this one's really unnecessary at this point, but I'll put it right here. The reason I'm going to put it right here is because he's moved this mechanized from here to here. Resultingly, I can't attack him from Kuopio anymore. I have to go around onto this clear area to attack him. He has zero supply though, so his capacity against us is not very high. Regardless of if I attack him or let him attrit, he's going to die. He has zero supply. We probably will attack him, but that is the situation. We've been holding our artillery to use it just defensively for right now, as we try to spread German MPPs around a little bit. Let's look at research for Germany. No research is finished, so all of our MPPs can go into other things. I used a lot of spare MPPs that we had last episode, on garrisons. A lot of garrisons, as we could see here. One of which was already paid for, has been deployed, but we got like 5 new garrisons. We've gotten some research in. Got another destroyer that's coming along. It's like the final thing that was paid for, like by the game, so I didn't have to pay for that. But lots of garrisons that we need. There's still potentially a little bit more we need, but since there's no research even available to do this turn, we're gonna have more opportunities to do things with our money. There's still a lot of reinforcement, potential upgrading that can be done, that needs to be done. We're gonna have to see how that goes little bit by little bit. Let's get started by using the 6th Corps against the Moscow Corps, which attrited a point. We also took a point from it last turn. Just took 6 more from it. It's down to 2. I could finish it off right now pretty simply if I just move off of Polotsk with the 1st Frontier Corps. Use the blitz attack to finish that off. National morale bonus and no damage taken. There is a partisan right there that is something to potentially worry about. This garrison, the Gomel Guard garrison, is not actually going to be sitting on Gomel. It's going to be sitting either here or here. They're both marshes. No matter what, they are both marshes. I think I keep thinking like, oh, I could just defend it from here, but this has rivers on both sides, which is just kind of helpful one way or another. I think I'll just put it over here for now. Just force march it right there. Now it's in a pretty good spot. I know I wanted the security garrison to be on Bratislava, but there is a good potential to simply move it up now and get it somewhere a little more important. Let me look at supply real quick. Supply is kind of decent in this area, maybe not amazing. This poor guy isn't anywhere where supply would really be taken care of. Now I could hold that garrison for other purposes coming up, and again, we still have more and more being made. This guy could benefit from not moving forward because he needs to reinforce. This guy could benefit from moving forward because there's really nowhere else for him to go or for nothing for him to do, really. And whether that's out of the swamp eventually to push towards Moscow or going up north towards Leningrad is up to debate of what I would really need here. However, we don't really have the troops to sustain an offensive to the north, nor do we have the HQs. So we kind of need to just focus. The front is going to stretch from essentially Demyansk, the forest up here, all the way down Germany to around Voronezh. And that's a huge front that's going to widen as time goes on, making it pretty hard. I know ignoring a northward offensive is what I did in the PvE, and I ended up kind of regretting it a little bit just for continuity's sake, but we're not rushing to Moscow. We're meeting his forces. His forces are all right here. There are some up here, yeah, but I would need another HQ and maybe a couple more units to really take advantage of that. Let's move the Suomussalmi Corps down just to kind of take a look at this mechanized. We will go ahead and attack the mechanized with the Suomussalmi Corps, dealing 2 damage and taking 1. If it was a prepared attack, we probably wouldn't have taken any, but it is what it is. This thing is now injured, very unready. You know, it's not entrenched, and it has a corps right here, a garrison here. Probably isn't going to be able to escape through this way, and there's another corps there to kind of maintain watch on it as well. At this point, I don't think the second garrison is really in any danger, so I'm going to operate it back up this way. Or wait, do we need to? Did I purchase... No, okay. Honestly, did I purchase another garrison? No, I did not. This is not a terrible place to have one. Huh. So maybe I want to rethink this, because, well, yeah, it's not a terrible place to have one. I really do want to defend this as soon as possible, though, and I don't know when that opportunity is going to, like, arise to put something else, because he may advance down here if he just guesses that it's undefended. If he moves over this way with anything, we have armies here to deal with it. We have corps, and responding would be pretty simple. We already know that there's nothing this far in. He can't see this far from here, so I'll take the opportunity to move over here and make sure he can't take the only port that Finland has in the north away. This will be a multi-turn thing to deal with now that he's moved it as far as he did. I don't know if he realizes that he's caused me such annoyances by doing this. He probably doesn't, but there it is, and that's what he's done. As much as I'd love to attack, it's going to require using artillery. I'd rather just use it defensively for right now, given how well every other front is going. Looking at other parts of the Soviet front here, we have this corps that can upgrade with mobility and infantry weapons. I will get its upgrades finally. It is guarding this garrison part of this partisan point, so I don't need to move a garrison up there in any rush. I'm not worried about that. We're going to leave that alone for the time being. I've gone ahead and just named this right here the Bratislava security garrison, because I plan on probably leaving it on Bratislava if possible. Yeah. And then other ones here are capable of moving up. This one doesn't have its mobility upgrades, and it could get its mobility upgrades. It's just whether that's worth it is questionable. I do want to move Rommel forward to Konotop, so I'm not leaving it on Konotop. So we'll probably just move it forward right now. Have it capture Kursk for us. So that is an MPP value town. It's crashed at 3 supply. It's 0.25 MPP per supply point for us. Not too bad, not the worst, but not the best either. This will allow me to move the Rommel HQ up to Konotop, which has more supply than Kiev, by the way, which would put this in enough supply to actually get standard upgrades. This is going to be a lot to do all at once, but I'm going to upgrade the Von Bock HQ with mobility and anti-air defense, because our HQs, well, Rommel has it, but he needs it to get around easier down here. He could only move 3. It wasn't enough to make it really anywhere. If he gets 5, he could make it to Kharkov in one go. 4 could almost get him there. It really depends on the weather and etc. every turn that is available. So that is staying the same for right now. We're not really changing that out. That was a lot of MPPs. I've been waiting for MPPs to kind of come around for us to really start looking at upgrading any HQs, because we've always had other things to focus on. And that's a massive amount of MPPs. Like, that was 1/6, slightly more than that, of the total MPPs we had available since the beginning of the turn. The second Romanian army can move forward to join the first up on the front. Now that they surround it with 2, it will slowly start running out of supply, but it has so much supply as it is. What difference that makes is really going to be questionable. I can't capture Kerch without using the Hungarian army. I don't necessarily want to send the Hungarian all the way down there. And I don't necessarily want to give out on morale or entrenchment either. This only has 3 action points, this thing. I'm going to move the Bernolek Slovakian Corps. I'm going to move it just forward once to recon. See, there's nothing behind Stalino, so I don't need to worry about running into anything on Stalino. He's left the extremely valuable mine undefended and only defended the town next to it, which is really, really good. The Slovakian Corps I'd love to have go further, but its intel on what is further is, of course, right now, questionable. Supply on the front right now is also questionable. It's not exactly going to improve anytime excessively soon. We're going to move forward once with this core to do a little bit of scouting. We'll find that Voroshilnovgrad itself, anyway, is actually undefended. Now, beyond that, I'm not sure. I doubt he'll have anything really right here. Rostov probably has something. We really did kill a lot of his units down here. Since I know how this place is defended, we can take the 1st Hungarian army, go move that to capture Stalino. That is a lot of MPP. Right now at strength 2, or supply 2? That's weird. It's called strength when you're looking at a mine instead of supply. That's confusing. But at supply 2, it's worth 4 MPPs. So for every 1 supply, this is worth 2 MPPs. So once we get it to 10, it's going to be giving us 20 MPPs a turn. We just took a source of 20 MPPs a turn. He was getting 18. If it gets to 10, you know, we don't know what it will actually max at. But we took a source that was giving him 18 away from him entirely. Now giving us 4 will work up to give us more. Just like this oil, it's pretty fucking valuable. Just not as valuable as the oil, but it is almost so. We now know there's nothing here as well, and we now have a better capability to fight the Stalingrad Corps. He moved the Stalingrad Corps here. There may just simply be nothing on Stalingrad. I'll move the 4th Army forward a touch. I'm going to move this 5th Corps back, actually. I'm moving them into areas where they would still be able to... Well, actually, this is not good enough. I was looking at upgrades, but also I need reinforcement on both of them. So they need to be above 5. 6 will do. Both of these can reinforce next turn using the Rommel HQ. Theoretically, shouldn't be anything wrong with that, especially with Kursk getting more supply over time as well. They've done, well, this one's done its recon. This army simply can't get any further in the mud. I knew there would be mud, remember? I told you there'd be mud. And here is the mud. The 1st Army here will just reinforce in place. We want to get that back up to 10. Supply going down the road's not going to be too great, but down the road is where we have to go eventually. I will... It's tough. I don't expect him to be making any kind of counterattack down this road. So I'm going to send the Slovakian Corps forward as like a forward-acting element for both recon as well as just kind of marking our forward front. Ahead of Kharkov, where I eventually want to get von Baka moved up to, probably. But mostly as a stopping point in between there and Kursk. Theoretically, these guys are going to head continuously northeast, but I expect one to kind of swivel around to Orel, yeah. Thought I was saying that wrong for a second. Eventually, Rommel will be good for that, but these guys could spread out as well if the opportunity arises. Still, there isn't enough HQs anyway. We do have this big Roman numeral corps all the way down here. This needs to go northeast. I want to get these Germans as far away from the other guys, especially the HQs, as possible in these upcoming turns. So just moving it up to back up the Slovakian Corps wouldn't be the worst thing. It would help keep Kharkov a little bit more defended anyway. So let's go up that way. We're mobilized, so that will go pretty nicely, pretty well. This boy right here, medium bomber, can't do anything given where it is. We can give it elite reinforcements. No, we cannot. Not enough supply. But we can upgrade it to have long-range aircraft, or we could look at moving it forward. Well, actually, considering it's probably what's going to stay down here, its main use would probably be in simply bombarding the living fuck out of Sevastopol. Getting them moved would even be better. Would probably be a lot better in the long run. We'll get the 2nd Army moved up this way towards Taganrog. Get Taganrog surrounded by armies. For right now, it is entrenched. These boys cannot actually reach that far. I kind of want to wait on the prepared attacks, but it is October. We will have snow coming up. So I'm not really entirely sure about if that's a good idea or not. But it does seem like a good opportunity, at least, to get long-range aircraft upgrades on these guys. Especially while they both still can. So, yeah, fuck it. Long-range aircraft, no bombing. We just got here. Let's just hold up. I'll put on this core some mobility. It's expensive, but it'll give it more mobility, let it move around more. Maybe let it get Kerch when... Well, I don't know if it can do it with the mud there. But an army could do it in the meanwhile, if necessary. Romania's HQ can live without it. I've already burned through almost half of my MPPs for this turn. As this faction. The Luftwaffe fighters here are going to move up, for now, just to Kiev. That seems a fitting location for them to go. There's already Romanian fighters, so I don't really care about where the fighters are or where they go. The Hungarian Corps, I'll move down to Voroshilovgrad. There you go. Take that. Now we've marked kind of a new front, taken another town. This town does have some MPP value, which is nice. Let's make sure we're not leaving any. We are leaving some locations not having anything to garrison its partisan unit. This is what I was potentially worried about. Yep. Now, in that case, to do this, we don't need a Bulgarian on Hungary. We have another Hungarian unit showing up anyway. I'll move this Bulgarian garrison to Vinica. I'll just leave the Bratislav security garrison on Budapest for right now. We'll move it to Bratislava when it gets a chance, pretty much next turn. Japan also has a garrison capable of deploying. And right now, it's just kind of competing for space, because this paratroop unit hasn't deployed. I think I'll put this in a transport right now, 20 MPPs. I'll pay for that, just to get it out of the way. Put this garrison right here on Nagasaki. That should work out fine. And we'll handle that when we get to it. There's still a good bit of research to be done on rocket weapons before we get our next upgrade. We will go ahead and bombard London, as per usual, dealing 2 MPP damage, and we will bombard Portsmouth, as per usual, dealing 1 MPP damage. I don't know why it's different. Like, I don't know why it works so differently. You may or may not remember that I pointed out that right here is a hex where the Atlantic Wall will deploy on Dunkirk. And I'm pretty sure it was right here. It's either here or here, but pretty sure it will deploy right here. We'll have to move this, but it's not going to deploy until January, and it's currently October. Next turn will be November. So I think we're good to just leave this here for right now, but it will have to be moved eventually to make room for the Atlantic Wall. Sadly, we're not going to get that next research in quite when I wanted to, but it's coming, and we're just continuously hitting him, chipping away at some MPPs over time, which does work out pretty well in my book. Our tactical bombers here have to deal with the fact that the front is moving very quickly, our supply is not moving very quickly, and our HQs, one of them, Von Bach specifically, is lagging behind a little bit. So we'll take this opportunity and these extra MPPs as a chance to simply upgrade our bombers some more, since we're not going to be pushing the offensive into Taganrog this turn, for example. We'll get elite reinforcements on the straight shooter tactical bombers. The SG-2s can go ahead and just get long-range aircraft for right now. That's fine for now. If they need to move up, you know, they will move up, just not right now. I'm going to move up the Africa Corps. We're going to move it right up this way to border the enemy's 2nd Corps. We will go ahead and attack them. It's 0-1 calculated right now, but we dealt 1, we took 1, which is a little bit worse than I was promised. But that's just how it goes sometimes. The only thing we have that can really strike right now is going to be Corps, so that's what we're going to have to work with. Let's move the 13th Corps forward. 0-2, it's blitz attacks, so we're at a slight disadvantage. We dealt 3, oh god, and we took 1. We're not supposed to be taking any, so the luck kind of isn't on our side right now with these blitz attacks. We're going to move forward again now with the 1st Corps. Only dealt 1 damage. Did not take any, but we did chase the unit back. We got 3-1. They take, we take. Against the Guards heavy tanks with a Corps? Yeah, I'm going to take that. 3 damage dealt. 2 taken. These are not working out for me. They're really, really not working out for me very well. Not at all. The recon, I'll chase enemies down in the woods here. We're going to go for the better odds here against the Corps. We're supposed to deal 2 damage. We dealt 3. We unfortunately took 1 while not supposed to take any. While the rolls are really not working out in our favor here, and they really, really aren't. Like, that was really bad. That was really fucking shitty. We still got the end result that we were hoping for. We did. So we're going to move the 1st Corps up because it's not going to need to stay anywhere down here. It's completely fixed up. It's ready to move. It's ready to go. We destroyed an enemy corps. We did take some losses in the progress, but it wasn't that bad. And considering how everything else is going, I mean, it's just what you would expect. At this point, I'm so tempted to move this HQ forward. I am. It can't even get as far as I'd want it to, though, in one turn. Not unless it gets lucky and rolls all 4 action points. But it only rolled 3. Mobilization would help, but that would be very expensive, as we've seen. I'm going to move this core down once. It will claim that for us, and it will put it in a location where it can reinforce next turn. This Frontier Corps cannot get very far right now. I do kind of want to do a little bit of scouting on this front line. Supply won't be too great up there, but I will do some scouting. So we see he did keep a core over at Novgorod. I'll move the Frontier Corps up. And that does leave, yeah, this is guarded by the 6th Corps, so that's fine. So we know he's up there. I'm not planning on attacking so long as it's defended because I don't have that capability. But right now, we're in a pretty decent place. He'd have to move. I'm not sure he's going to move a core to attack us. We are superior, and we're not in a place that can entrench anyway, so it'd be silly for him to move up and attack. So I'm really not too worried about that. Moving an HQ forward, von Rundstedt, for example, up here, could allow another approach with some better supply, but it's not even entirely needed, especially now that we have an HQ on Smolensk, which is absolutely going to be pumping out supply like crazy next turn, apparently. I guess Smolensk is just that valuable. The Africa fighters can reinforce in the rear. We will reinforce them. A lot of these tactical bombers don't have the best attack opportunities right now. This may just end up being a huge reinforcing turn because I've already burned through over half my MPPs. We have avoided a lot of upgrades, reinforcements, and elite reinforcements recently. So let's try with the one that only really has an upgrade to do, no reinforcement. Let's go ahead and try to bombard this enemy core. Our fighters running coverage, enemy fighters running coverage. But these are little pea shooter fighters. P whatevers they're called. 6 damage dealt to his fighter, 1 to the enemy land unit, no damage taken anywhere. That worked out very, very well for us. Odds are improving in our favor. I'd love to get elite reinforcements. I'd love to get all kinds of things, but it will make what the land fighters have to do a little bit harder, unfortunately, if I do that. If we don't get this down to like 6, for example, then I can't feasibly one-shot it, which I would love to be able to do with this forwardmost unit that's in the field that has the ability to do that. So let's ignore elite reinforcements for right now. Let's do a bombing with this bomber. We dealt only 1 damage. We took no damage, and we're still not quite there. The others might be needed to make this more of a one-shot capacity, if that's what I'm going for. There's not a whole lot of reason not to. So we'll try with the one in the rear, the SG-3 tactical bombers. We've dealt 3 damage, and now we can definitely one-shot. There you go. 5 damage dealt, none taken, enemy dead. We still have 1 more bomber. And it's not even going to necessarily be needed. We're in the marsh, so we're not really entrenched. That's not anything to think about. So we could just move forward. We have to move forward eventually. That much is just a given. Supply will be good. Better than it is right now, according to this, as of next turn. The 8th Army here could have gotten elite reinforcements if he hadn't been bordering an enemy. But until we get to winter, I'm not entirely worried about that. Let's just move you up for now, 10th Army. Just down the road, see what we have. Okay, well, there's already a cavalry that's just asking to be hit. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit that with a blitz attack. First Guards Cavalry Corps. 7 damage dealt, none taken, and now we have an XP point, which is just insane. Absolutely super duper valuable. I'd love to move up further, but I'm not sure that's smart in this instance. It could be. Moving a tank up to fill this role could be just as fine. Supply's going to be really well. It's going to be really good up there. Fine, then. We'll reinforce the 3rd Army, get that up to snuff. As much as I'd love to do elite reinforcements on this, I feel like it should be moved up somewhere, right? I think a main road approach would be smarter than going and lodging ourselves in right here. It's already done its attack, so yeah, let's just move it up. This tank could also go over here instead, which would be smarter as a breakthrough point. So we're going to move over there, and we see we can now finish off this cavalry corps, so we will. There you go, 3 damage dealt, and it's dead. And we've gained an XP point. We're going to use our 2nd attack on the 5th Corps, Kaluga, dealing only 2 damage, not the 3 we were promised, but taking no damage. Pretty good for a blitz attack with a tank. Rather than move a core up where he'll definitely attack it, I'll just move this one right up here. I'd say I see it can move there, but I'm not doing that, I think. Oh man, I could, but it would definitely get attacked if it moves that far. So no, we'll use it defensively. I'm just going to move it up right here to kind of guard the rear of the 10th Army and guard Von Lieb, who's not really going anywhere right now. We'll put elite reinforcements on the 14th Army. While it's in the rear, might as well get it that upgrade. Make it even better. Supply is going to be good enough no matter what right up here by Bryansk. So I'll just move these tanks up this way. They do need some more supplies to be able to really pull anything quite amazing out. Supply is too bad down here to really speed up this one moving anywhere. So we'll just move it as far down the road as we can get. That mobility really does make a difference. And then this bomber is just not needed to do anything really. So I'll go ahead and just reinforce the Africa Tactical Bombers to get at least one of them back up to 10. Since the others are busy doing attacks. We can definitely get some movement going forward on this. The supply values we'll have are going to be questionable. However, I will move up at least a little bit here in the back. Not on the front where our bombers are already in decent enough locations. We do have a new good front. His front is based around here on this railroad and road leading to Moscow. Probably because that's where he could also operate. But we're going to go more spread across the field as much as we can, hitting where he's weakest. Because I feel like we've killed enough of his units now that he simply cannot form as wide of a front as he wants to. And so he's picking one location to fortify. He's very focused on fortifying. As we've seen, Kaluga stands no chance to the Africa Corps tank here. And that was with probably one entrenchment. Now it has none. It'll have one next turn and it's weak. Even if he reinforces it, readiness and morale will be down. Planes will be closer and more able to help. So I have a feeling if he doesn't reinforce this, we'll break through. Forcing him to operate units. Forcing him to just go out of his way. Break his fortifications. And allow us to do more damage before the winter strikes. We only have like 1 or 2 more turns, assuming the snow doesn't come early. The linebreaker tanks have been beyond their supply limit for a while. The supply doesn't really go very far, and where it does, it's pretty bad. It could get elite reinforcements, but it's like 2 turns worth. I'm just going to move it up here, down to this crossroads. Kind of leave it as a potential way to catch the guards tanks if they retreat any further. For right now, they still won't even have the greatest supply to be able to pull that off. The linebreaker's tank supply isn't terrible either, unfortunately. Until we move HQs forward, and until these locations catch up in supply, how far we can move is limited. Mud and soon snow kicking in will limit us even further. Given our lines have moved up, I will probably, for now, since it'll be a turn or 2 before Von Bach can get up to Kharkov, I'm just going to move the Luftwaffe fighters, these ones, that far, so they can cover the absolute front, while the 4th fighters cover more around here, and the Romanians can cover, well, themselves. In the ocean, we'll move this sub up 1, we'll move this sub up 1, staying in kind of the same region, but maybe moving just a little teeny tiny bit. For right now, he's already gone and attacked this one, so I'm not quite sure what to do with it, especially if he is potentially blockading things or whatever. We can reinforce this sub right here. These 2 subs that are chilling off the coast. And we have more to do with Germany, at least just a little bit, 164 MVPs remaining, but we do have a nice full episode here. So in the next episode, we'll probably finish off as Germany, do all of Italy, and then move over into Japan. It's a little bit faster, I feel, of a turn. For now, though, that's going to be it. So thank you guys very much for watching this episode today, and I hope I will see you on the next episode.